Are you having a hard time coping with engineering school? Do you sometimes feel stressed, overwhelmed, and sometimes even a little lost? Hi everyone, my name is Dhivenya and I'm a final year mechanical engineering student in France. So I've literally faced all of the above and I have learned to deal with these common struggles, which is why I decided to make this video to share with you guys what I've learned throughout my experience as an engineering student. Let's get started. So survival tip number 1 is staying consistent. And this is primarily for managing your academics. I don't know about you guys, but in my engineering program, I've had my share of scientific subjects as well as project-based subjects. And personally, I struggle a lot more with scientific subjects. I found them extremely hard to be good at, and so I had to put in a lot more effort in order to pass these subjects. The thing is, engineering is a challenging major, and so in order to deal with the nature of this course, I opted for several methods. Tip number 1 for managing your academics is by studying in groups. I personally found this to be very effective, especially if you study with a group of serious and motivated friends. Just having that group effect helps you guys stay motivated, and it also helps you guys learn from each other and help one another out in times of difficulties. This is extremely beneficial because, for example, if you're stuck when you are studying a certain subject, you can immediately ask your friend, and if he or she can help you out, then you solve that problem there and there and you move on to the next part of your studying session. Tip number 2 is asking for extra tutoring. So in my first year of my engineering course, I actually failed one of my midterm examinations on engineering design, because the thing is, coming from Malaysia, I've never ever done anything related to this in high school, whereas I've had so many friends in France who have already figured out how to draw things on the engineering design softwares. And so when I failed that midterm, I was like, okay, this is it. I can't let this continue. So I reached out to my professor, who agreed to help me and to give me extra classes. And so with time, I got better and better, and I even ended up getting an A towards the end of my course. So the moment you detect that you are struggling with something, you detect that there's a problem, reach out for help, because you just improve a lot faster and you don't have to deal with the stress of struggling alone. And the next thing you want to do is to be consistent. You want to start ahead when it comes to studying, when it comes to revisions. Create a timetable and follow it throughout the entire semester. I feel that it's just so much easier to spread the difficulty of the course along many days instead of just cramming everything 1 or 2 weeks before the exam. You want to avoid getting sucked into this vicious cycle of procrastinating and then burning the midnight all to study, and that leads on to inefficient studying, and that leads to more stress, and the cycle continues. Survival tip number 2 is building a healthy routine. I think that this is key to surviving all the stress and the workload that you're going to be facing throughout the semester. To be honest, I was constantly feeling stressed throughout almost the entire course of my degree, and I thought that if I wasn't feeling stressed, that means that I was not studying enough and I wasn't doing enough. And boy, was I wrong. So in my last year in engineering school, I figured things out differently, and so if what I'm about to share is going to be able to help you guys, then that would be great. There are 3 things to consider when building a healthy routine: sleep, food, and staying active. So let's talk about sleep. I don't know why, but for some reason, most of us readily sacrifice sleep more than anything else. I used to stay up till midnight, 1 or 2 a.m. till I figured out a question, till I figured out that problem that I was solving, and I wouldn't go to sleep until I struggle and figure it out. It doesn't work that way. Yes, I ended up solving the question after hours of struggling, but at what cost? So the thing is, in my last year, I tried to do things differently. Every day at 10:30 p.m. I would stop because I tried to reprioritize sleep. And so the next day when I would wake up feeling better, fresh, well rested. And for some reason, when I attempt to solve the problem that I was having problems with the day before, things are not in my head and I managed to solve the problem. And so when I compare how efficient I am when I used to burn the midnight oil and try to solve something versus when I would stop studying at a certain time every single day, get enough sleep, and solve the problem the next day, I found that like a problem that would take me 3 hours to solve if I were to stay up late would take me like 45 minutes after getting a good night's rest. Eating healthy. Now, when you are in a challenging situation, you want to make sure that all the other aspects in your life are in place. I always feel so relieved after a studying session when I know that I can just open the fridge, heat up my food, and I have good comforting food to boost my morale. So what I used to do is I would spend 2 to 3 hours on a Sunday cooking and cleaning, and I would prepare my meals for the entire week. So it has definitely saved me a lot of time because I didn't particularly like cooking. But some people also resort to cooking as a stress relief. Staying active. Now in Malay, we have this saying, badan sihat otak cerdas. And what it means is basically a healthy body leads to a fresh and healthy mind. So you're going to want to try to get some movement in even if you are stressed up, even if you have a heavy schedule. You can consider going out for a run, going cycling, lifting a few weights, or even taking a short walk outside. In my case, running is a great stress relief. It's something that I used to do a lot during exam season. It's something that I still practice. I think that it's just really good to be able to evacuate all the stress. So sometimes you'll see on Strava, which is the running application that I use, you'll see that I'll go out for a run for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, just to sprint, get your body moving and evacuate all that stress. When the going gets tough, guys, you want to toughen up and get going as well. Do not let the stress and pressure overwhelm you. Find ways to deal with them. Healthy ways. Even just a 20-minute walk outside in the fresh air could do wonders. Survival tip number 3 is trusting the process. Now, do you ever find yourself wondering what you're going to do with your engineering degree later on? Or do you sometimes even question why you chose this major in the first place? Don't worry, I got you, because I've been there, and ironically enough, that's actually a pretty common thought. Literally, in my friend group, the majority of us have asked ourselves, why did we pick this major, like many points throughout the entire course. The thing is, engineering is extremely vast, and we're all just figuring out our own paths at our own pace. That's completely normal, and it's okay to not have all the answers like at this particular point of your life. To be honest, when I first started in my first year, I could not possibly see what I would be doing with my degree 4 years down the line. And same thing, like in year 2, I started to get a little idea, but I was still completely lost. My mind was fixated on that stereotype of what an engineer is. And slowly when I entered engineering school, like things started to evolve. I started to get more exposure to different possibilities, and that's when my mind started to broaden and I started to have different ideas of what I could possibly do. I know that this is a very cliche thing to say, but in reality, a lot of people don't actually end up working in the fields that they studied. And that's because I think like your degree is just a stepping stone into the working world that is filled with endless possibilities. And I actually realized this during my first internship because the job that I was doing was more of like project management based, and so it literally had so little to do with what I was learning theoretically during my engineering course. And I've also met so many interesting people who ended up like switching career paths down the line. They start off doing engineering and then they venture out into HR, marketing, strategizing, and so on. So really like don't put pressure on yourself to have all the answers to what you're going to do in the future. Just go with the flow, trust the process, enjoy the process, and just try to learn as much as you can. We have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video will be able to help you guys get through engineering school. If you did find this video helpful, please give it a like and do subscribe to my YouTube channel, as that would help me quite a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Ciao!